Hello, I'm Vie Portland of VIP Empowerment. I have always felt different. I have always felt I couldn't share everything of who I was. I grew up living with 7 of the 10 adverse childhood experiences, so I was diagnosed with lots of mental health problems. I justified my behaviour because of the diagnosis that I'd been given, and some of the diagnoses were relevant at the time. But since being diagnosed with ADHD, I'm one of the many late diagnosed women with ADHD. I've also got traits of autism, and I was diagnosed in September 2024. Since being diagnosed, I've realised how much of my behaviours in the past have been indicators of living with neurodivergence. When I was a child, very young, just started school really, my maternal grandfather, was my favourite person in the world. And he started moaning about punks. And I remember it clearly because I didn't want to challenge him. But I also felt that they needed to be stood up for. And I said to him that they're just people. They're still people, but they've got pretty coloured hair. And that's all they were. So from a very young age, I've believed strongly in fairness. There's lots of other examples, but that's the first one that I remember. As I've grown, as I've looked into the ADHD, I've realised that it's justice sensitivity. I believe strongly in fairness and kindness and acceptance. There have been times in my life when people have been very dismissive of my thought processes, so I've not really shared them that much. I hid most of them, and I found that sometimes when I was very tired or very excited, I would struggle to contain everything that I felt I had to keep in because people wouldn't like me if they knew I was different. I would often be told to get on with it when I was talking. I remember several times when people would go, she'll just get round to the beginning again, just wait for it, it will get there. It was always very dismissive, it was always very derogatory. And now I know that that was the hyperactivity in my brain. I don't just have one thought. I have multiple thoughts all at one time. Even when I'm very tired, there's still several. And sometimes when I am very tired, I struggle to formulate each of them into a sentence, and I'll try and have all of the sentences at once. As I reached a point where I had a mental health breakdown, maybe 18 years ago, and I was very ill for a long time. And I realised that I had to start changing things, and I began to accept who I was and how I how I looked, how the things I loved. And I still didn't share them all with everybody because I didn't want to be judged. But there was still a lot going on. I was just more open about showing who I was, wearing bright colours, flowers in my hair, doing the things that I loved, even though people like me didn't do them. That's what I'd been told. You do you. You do whatever you love. And again, it was through that my confidence grew, that I began to love who I am, and yet I still hid some of what was in my head. I've had burnout several times because I've hid it so much. I live with complex PTSD because of the ACEs that I mentioned earlier. Since finding the diagnosis, it's helped me understand me more and helped me celebrate me even more than I did before. It helps me celebrate other people more because we're all so different, and there's such a wealth of experience and knowledge and joy and information in these brains. And to have other people with neurodivergence share them and share what they love with you, that's really personal, and it's a privilege, it's an honour to have someone share that. So for me, celebrating neurodivergence is celebrating me, and it's celebrating the people in my life and the people I've yet to meet who don't realise how incredible their brains are yet and how many wonderful things they've got in there. And that's what I do. I help people find their fabulous. I help them become confident. I help them grow because I truly believe that we all deserve love, acceptance and kindness. And that's my justice sensitivity. That's me being truly ADHD, and I love it.